Baby, it's cold outside. So today I'm going to be playing with the mid-month mini mission for December, which is icicles. So you can see the sheet on the screen right there. So I'm going to be creating a little mini canvas today with icicles and ice in mind. So to start off with, I've got this small little gallery wrap canvas. It's just a, as you can see, 14.8 centimeters by 21 centimeters, about 8 inches by just under, I'd say about 5 or 6. So not all that large at all. And I'm going to be using 3 metallic paints today. I've got Kingfisher Blue from Indigo Blue. I've got Snow White, which is a metallic white. Sorry, these are all metallic paints. So we've got Kingfisher Blue, which is metallic, Snow White, which is metallic, and Vodka Martini, which is also silver, metallic. So those are my cold palette colours that I'm going to be using today. But I'm also going to be using a little bit of white gesso. Again, I'm going to be using the Indigo Blue white gesso. So a little bit of an Indigo Blue theme going on today. So I shall just move those paints to one side. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to completely cover my canvas with blue paint. So I'm going to open up the Indigo Blue Kingfisher Blue and just directly take it from that pot, and I'm going to completely cover the entire of my canvas with this beautiful metallic kind of mallard blue, tealy blue. It's beautiful. Well, I should really say Kingfisher Blue, shouldn't I, really, because that's what it's called. Anyway, so I'm going to completely cover the entire of the canvas, including and remembering to do the sides. It goes over a little bit on the back, it's not really all that much of a hardship. And making sure I get plenty on. I'm not scrimping. And this is just a fun little winter project with no real aim in mind other than just to have fun with it. I'm not doing this to sell or to give away or anything like that. It's just literally for the sheer fun and pleasure of doing something a little bit unusual and a bit different. Just grab. Oh. So this is going to take me a few minutes, so it's not exactly riveting watching somebody paint a canvas one colour. So I shall just carry on for the next couple of minutes doing this, and then I'll jump to the end where I've completed it and we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so the canvas is completely covered with that beautiful blue, but it's not dry. I still haven't heat set it, so it is still a little bit wet. And I wanted just to bring in some of the Snow White first of all. So while it's still wet, I'm going to just drag some of that Snow White. Now, I should have put some on my top so I don't contaminate my brush. Here we go. Let's just grab a little dollop of that. So get the paint and literally just drag it across the canvas, and then I'm going to drag it down just to give it a little bit of kind of downward movement. And a lot of this will be covered up eventually, but just want to give it a little bit of a difference in that background. so it's not totally and utterly solid blue. Okay, kind of happy with that for now. So I'm going to just grab my heat gun, give that a blast, get it all dry, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so the canvas is now completely dry, and look at that beautiful metallic sheen on there. So I'm going to put that to one side just for now, and I'm going to bring in some corrugated cardboard. So I've got this corrugated cardboard that I've already cut out, just cut some kind of icicle kind of shapes that I want to overlay or lay over, just to create some real nice kind of depth and dimension for the canvas. Now, as you can tell, they're completely untreated. I haven't done anything with them. So what I need to do is I need to get them completely painted. So I'll just grab the paintbrush that I've just quickly washed, not 100% bothered if there's a little bit of contamination with the blue paint, because we're not that precious. And I've got the white gesso. So I'm now going to cover all of this in that white gesso. Now this will probably take a couple of coats, but while I'm doing this, obviously the gesso is going to soften the paper, which will enable me to create some really nice kind of ridges once it starts to soak in and starts softening up that top layer of paper for the corrugation. So just give it a few seconds or so to start sinking in. And as it starts to sink in, I can then just start to push through to get some of those kind of ridge shapes. Or I could just start tearing the paper. So, basic coat of gesso, let the paint soak in. I'm going to do the same thing for this piece. I'm just going to show you the one first. I'll just pop that to one side. And then let's just see whether we can, that's it, start to tear off, revealing those bits corrugation. Now yes, I could have done this before I started putting the paint on, but sometimes it's easier to do, a bit more control if it's soggy. And I don't mind getting a wee bit dirty. It's half the fun. So I'm just literally running my finger into that corrugation. Grab hold and pull. Because when icicles form, they run down and they create these kind of, I won't say, oh well, I'll have to say bulbous kind of curves on the edges. So using the corrugated cardboard like this, it's kind of a fun way of introducing those kind of shapes and textures into it. Okay, so let's grab that paint again and then start loading it back up. Getting the paint right in there, softening it up. May require more than one coat, but we'll be adding some of that metallic paint to it later anyway, so just having a bit of fun. Okay, so you've seen me do that one. I'm going to go away now and also do it to this one. So I'm going to get cracking and I'll be right back when I've also done this piece, which I'm going to be putting in the back of that canvas. So now those gessoed pieces of corrugated cardboard are dry, I'm going to bring in that silver vodka martini, and I'm going to grab some of that silver paint, and I'm going to start adding that in just by almost dry brushing into some of the areas around those kind of faux icicles. So just grab some of the paint, brushing it in. I'm not going up here because that's going to be covered over in a little while anyway. So just get that silver paint in there. That gives it a nice little bit of a two-tony kind of effect. Darkens up some of those areas. Oh, nice and shiny. Love it. Okay, drop that back in water. Put that silver paint to one side for a second, and then just give that a quick blast with that heat gun just to dry that silver paint off. All that silver paint is now dry, but just to tie the colours in a little bit, I've brought back that Kingfisher blue, and I'm just going to take a small bit on the brush, and I'm just going to very, very gently just kind of drag a little bit of the colour down, just to kind of tie all the colour in together. So just add a little bit, but not going mad. Just to introduce a little bit more of that colour. Okay, I think we're just about done with that. So again, just to make sure that we get all the paint dry before moving on, that we don't smear it and make a complete mess, he says, looking at the state of his desktop, but hey ho. Let's get that dry and then we can move on. Okay, everything's now dry and, haha, I've had a bit of a clean up. So I now need to start sticking things together. So I've got a hot glue gun here, which I just need to turn on. There we go. It doesn't take very long to warm up at all. And then I can just start to straighten out my icicles. Now what I've done is I've also stuck a little piece underneath that. I did that even before I even started to paint, just so that I knew that everything was going to be level when I stuck everything down. So I'm going to just grab my glue gun. I'm just going to put a bead there we go, and of course battery's going flat, typical. Right, I'll have to use my other one for now. Give me a mo and I'll be right back. Okay, so glue gun is now fully operational and working, so I'm just going to add some blobs of that glue along there and then line that up with the corner and the top. Give it a squeeze down. Not particularly fussed about sticking glue down here, but we could just add one or two little blobs just to hold it in place. And then we'll take this one, add some glue there, all the way along, maybe a little bit just down there, just to hold it in position. Flip it over and then line that up with that top right hand corner and then just slide it down. Just like so. Icicles, love it. Okay, so just to finish off, and I'm going to turn that round and I'm going to bring out my coarse modelling paste. I've got a spatula. And I'm going to grab that and just start adding in some of that coarse modelling paste. Build it up across the top. And just start dragging it across. All good fun. Just to create a little bit of dimension in there. Some nice snow across the top. I'm going to just butter up and fill in the gap at the top of the canvas. That just disguises the top of that corrugated cardboard. Just like so. And then I can keep adding bits more on just to build it up on the top. For no other reason than we can, because it's fun to do. Play about, get messy, and then we can just drag down a little of that paste. And maybe a little bit down the sides, just to kind of finish it off. And then do the same at that side. Add some in the corners, peek it all up, and then just drag it a little bit down the edges. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. Just a little bit too much there. And that's it. I'm going to leave that to dry for a good half an hour or so, and I may even just give it a little blast with the heat gun. In fact, I think I will. So that that coarse modelling paste is kind of starting to set now. So just to finish off, I just want to add a quick little quote onto there. I'm just going to tuck that right in that corner, just to kind of finish that off, because we've got such lovely kind of sheen and shine and all that metallic paint, and that fits rather nicely. That's it. I think I'm done.